And we're going to do a fun project today. I'm going to move the camera back around. I've had this cabinet for some time. One of the benefits of working or having a studio at Ground Floor Artist is that people know I do furniture projects. And so I'll come into my booth and there'll be a pile of furniture in my booth that they want to get rid of, and so they're donating it to me. This was one of those pieces, and I think it's a really sweet piece. It was probably originally used like in a bathroom, like over the toilet or something. It has some holes drilled into it to connect it to the wall. But I thought this would be really cute in a young girl's bedroom or like over a desk in a young girl. So that's kind of the theme that I'm going to go with it. And I'm going to continue to paint it white, but I'm going to put black stripes in here. I may put pink Harlequin on here. I'm not sure. I know my decoupage tissue, the Harlequin, is probably too big a scale for this, so I'll have to make a stencil to put that Harlequin on or paint it on by hand, but I'm not doing that. So anyway, hi Suzanne, hi Linda, hi Mickey, yay, I can see you guys today, that's awesome. So the paint I'm going to use today is I'm going to be using black and white, and this is the whitest white in the silk paint, and I know it's backwards and I apologize for that, but it's a silk paint and it's salt water, and this is what I painted my kitchen cabinets with, and I really, really love the silk paints. And the reason why I love them is it's three paints in one. It's your primer, it's your paint color, and it's your top coat. So I won't have to go back and top coat this when I'm all finished. And there are some spots in here that have been rubbed, and I don't know, it just looks like there could be some issues that might possibly have bled through that won't now. So just using that with a primer in there just takes one more worry out of my bucket and makes things go nice and easy. I did leave this stuff up here on my counter just so I can go over. I've cleaned this really well. It was pretty dirty. And the best way to clean furniture, and it's so super important to clean your furniture well, because I don't care what kind of paint you're using, if you aren't starting with a good clean surface, that paint is going to fail on you. So I recommend that you use the Dixie Belle White Lightning. It comes in a powder form. And one of these little jars will last you through a lot of furniture. And I take a 32 ounce spray bottle that I got at Walmart pre-COVID. So they were 99 cents then, they're probably $5 now. But I just fill it up with water and one heaping tablespoon of the White Lightning for the 32 ounce bottle, and then fill it up with water and then just shake it up. And then I have a bucket that I put fresh, clean water in. And when I am cleaning my furniture, I spray it with the White Lightning, and then I have a sponge or a clean rag, and I just wipe the whole thing down and scrub it down. And then when I'm all done with that, then I come back with fresh, clean water in my bucket again. And my spray bottle that you guys see me use all the time to thin out my paint a little bit. And I just spray down the whole thing, and with fresh clean water in my bucket and a rag or a sponge, I wipe down the whole thing again to get all the residue from the White Lightning off of it, because you don't want to leave any of the residue from the White Lightning on there, because that can cause a problem for you too. Micheline, you missed the very beginning? Okay, I'll tell you again. You can go back and just catch what I'm talking about is how to clean your pieces of furniture properly first, because that's super important. So you can go back and catch that at the very beginning. The paint that we're going to use today is in the silk line of paint of Dixie Belle, and all the silk line has 3 products in it. It's the primer, the paint color, and the top coat, all in one jar. And so that's where we're going to start today. I'm using salt water is the color that I'm using today, which is the whitest white. And that's what I painted my kitchen cabinets with. And you can see a part of my kitchen cabinet over here to the right. And those cabinets were black when I moved into this house. And I hated them the whole time that they were black. And normally with the silk paint, you do normally just need 2 coats for good coverage, but it took 3 coats of the silk paint for me to cover up all that black. And we are, speaking of black, we are going to be using silk and anchor because on the stripes on here, I'm going to paint the whole thing white so it's fresh and clean. And then every other one of these, I'm going to paint with the black. And then I'm going to do Harlequin. These knobs will come off at the top, but the knobs on the drawers won't. So, because I was thinking I would just replace all the hardware on here, but since these don't screw out, I could take pliers and pop it off. But I'm thinking that I might use I've got some really cute smaller molds, and I might just do something along the edge of each one of the handles and just go with what I have on here. So let's get started. Let's see. It looks like we've got Michelin. Yeah, I love my kitchen cabinets now, Michelin. I really didn't like them when I moved in here because they were originally really pretty cherry wood, and then the people that had this house before me painted them black. They painted, the walls were chocolate, the pantry doors, everything, all the cabinets were black, and every room in the house was a different color. I mean, it was just a mess when I bought this house. And having black granite countertops and black cabinets, it was just oppressive to me. So now that I have it all white, and I didn't like the black granite. Well, now that the cabinets are white and there's that contrast with the black, I like it a lot. So one of the things I should have done before I started painting here is I should have taped this off. So I'm going to stop and do that. And I'm just going to put painter's tape around the glass on here so I don't have a big mess. I used to just only do furniture, you guys. And then when I started doing my lives, I would do furniture and crafty projects. I find it much easier doing a live, doing a crafty project than I do furniture. Furniture and lives are trickier to do. And I have a painter's stool, but it's at the studio, and so then that means if I'm doing furniture, then I have to be on the floor, and frankly, I'm just too old to be on the floor anymore. So I haven't done as much furniture, but I have a lot of furniture out in my garage, and it's like, Deb, you just need to get it done. Get it done and get it out of there. Now, if you do happen to get any of this on your glass, then you can just take a straight edge razor blade and scrape it off. I'm just trying to get that corner a little bit better. Hi, Joey. Well, maybe you should come shop around in my garage, Joey, because I have a lot of furniture, and I haven't shopped for furniture in a couple of years, honestly. And when I get ready to do my lives, I literally walk around out in the garage and say, okay, what am I in the mood to do today? Because I have to be in the mood for it. There's plenty of options out there, but sometimes I'm just not in the mood for what's out there. So, and I do want to take 1 second to share with you guys how cool the canvas bag turned out. I did post some pictures of it, but oh my gosh, I have to keep looking at it. She's so pretty. So the prep part of doing furniture is my least favorite. And also, you guys, like many of my projects, And I think most people are like this. I know it sounds really weird when I say this, but it's like, it's definitely true with furniture, but I think it's true with just about everything that I do. Let the piece talk to you, because it will tell you what you should do. You just have to listen. And so I know I want stripes on here. I know I want it black and white. I may want to add some pink Harlequin. And I will know for sure if I'm going to do that when I get the black and white on here. Maybe I will decide I don't want pink Harlequin. Maybe I'll decide I want gold on there. So I'm going to go ahead, so you aren't watching me tape and tape and tape. I'm going to go ahead and paint this side. And this brush, I must have let it sit too long because it feels really stiff. Sit too long with paint on it. I'm famous for putting my brushes into a Ziploc bag and then I forget about them and don't come back for a week, and that's just too long. That's okay if you do that for overnight, but I don't recommend doing that and forgetting about your brushes, because these are, and so you do want to take good care of them. I've had these brushes since I started carrying Dixie Belle, and that was in 2019. So that's a long time to have a brush hold up. And I know that this isn't too exciting to watch me paint white on top of white, but this white is a fresher, cleaner, whiter white than the white that's currently on here. And there are a lot of marks and blemishes on this piece that I couldn't skip the step of not putting a fresh coat on here. So, and this paint is self-leveling, and because it has 3 coats, 3 different products in one jar, you do need to let it dry really well. So in Arizona, we're hot and we're dry. I think it's 106 today, and you know, very low humidity. Oh, I just touched that cute little handle. And so this paint is going to dry fairly quick, but what you do need to keep in mind with the silk paints is that there are 3 products in here, and the product on the top is the top coat. It's going to dry to your touch first, but that doesn't mean that the actual paint color and the primer are dry. So I recommend that, especially when you're doing furniture, that you let a couple of hours in between your coats so that it's good and dry. Now, you guys have seen me use the silk paint for lots of craft projects, and I love using it for craft projects, and I never wait that long when I'm doing a craft project. But on a furniture piece, there are just some rules that you have to follow. And we have so many fun things that we can use to enhance our furniture these days. There's wood you bend, and there's molds, and there's decoupage tissue, and there's transfers, and there's just so many things to be so artistic and creative with. And this cabinet would be super cute with transfers on it. It really would. And maybe I'll have to look through my transfers, but maybe I'll do that because I want it to look really girly. And this paint is self-leveling. I don't think I mentioned that. which is also very nice. I just love the silk paint, you guys. It just has different rules to it than when you are using the chalk paint. Chalk paint, you use your spray bottle to help level out your coats. And with the silk paint, you don't use water at all. Okay, we've got the outside of this one. I'm not going to tape off the inside, I'm just going to be careful. That's one of the nice things about these Dixie Belle brushes is that the tips of them are squared off, so you can get into nooks and crannies and corners and things really well. If you just pay attention. Okay, so I don't know what was going on here. They actually drilled holes here, here, and there. I'm sure to attach it to the wall, but for some reason, this is all like the original finish is all rubbed off on there. And I may go back and use some Dixie Belle mud, which is like a filler, and fill those. I haven't decided whether I need to do that or just leave this, because I am going to sell this piece. And whoever buys it may want to just be able to hang it up too. So, and by giving this a fresh coat of paint, you can see where all of these lines are. And I cleaned those really well, but they kind of have like a, I don't know if it's supposed to look like that, but they just look dirty in the cracks. And so by giving them a fresh coat of paint, I get rid of that dirty look. And the nice thing is, since I'm painting white on top of white, I only have to give it one coat. I'm getting really good coverage with this paint. If you're new to me, I'm DeborahBucherDesigns, and I have a line of decoupage tissue that's my own line, my own designs. And I had a big order ship in last week, and it was over 2,000 tissues, and I needed to get all of those inventoried, sorted, repackaged, and shipped out to my retailers. And a lot of that tissue was going into my own inventory, and it was just like, I can't do 2 lives and get that all done. And I literally worked a minimum of 10 hours a day at it, maybe some days longer. And it took me all of last week to get that accomplished. And no, I'm not using a wide brush. This is a 1-inch brush, and I have wide brushes, but because I'm going to also be painting every other one of these in black, when I pulled out my brush to work on this, I just pulled out this 1-inch brush. And it makes it easier for going around all of this trim on here. You know, you need to pick a brush that fits your project. That was a good question or a good comment. Do you guys have favorite brushes that you like to use? These brushes I have been using the same brushes since I started selling Dixie Belle. I have 2 of these 1-inch brushes and 2 of the mini brushes, which I think are 3-inch. I think I might have one handy I can grab. Hang on. Okay, so this is the 2-inch. You can see how much painting I've done with this brush, but I want you to pay attention to what great shape and form these bristles are still in. These brushes are made in the US and they are handmade. And they don't shed anything. You have not seen me pick out a hair at all. I never have to pick out hairs. These are like the best brushes I've ever painted with. And so they are a little bit on the pricey side, but you only have to invest in them one time. If you take good care of them and just wash them up real good with soap and water, they're going to last you a lifetime. And I definitely mean a lifetime. I'm not exaggerating. Micheline, you got a cousin on here? Liz, you should try it. Do you have a piece of furniture in mind that you would like to try? Furniture is a lot of fun. I have some pieces that I've done that I just can't even part with. My daughter keeps saying, Mom, are you going to sell that one? No, I just really love this one. And she just like rolls her eyes. It's like, how much furniture can one person have in the house? Too much. That's the answer. Too much. But there's so many things you can do with furniture these days. It's not like back in the 70s when you just picked out a paint color or a stain and you painted it and then that was it. You were done. There's so many fun things that you can do. You can decoupage, you can put transfers on, you can paint designs on, you can stencil on, you can use products that give you texture to your paint. You can blend your paint. I mean, they're works of art and they're just really fun to do. And you can get used furniture really cheap. I have to really restrain myself. You look on Marketplace and there's all kinds of great furniture for really reasonable prices on Marketplace. My daughter has a cabin up in Heber Overgaard, and I have painted every piece of furniture in that cabin, and it's a beautiful cabin. She Airbnbs it, and I have not only painted the furniture, but I painted the kitchen completely, and I have painted the bathroom floors, and those floors are gorgeous. They look like wood plank floors. They're really pretty. And I did them, it was 3 years ago, this past 4th of July. So, you know, being an Airbnb with strangers staying in it and not necessarily taking good care of things, those floors have held up beautifully. Liz, I would encourage you. Yeah, and a small piece would be good. And, you know, I tell people this all the time, and I mean it very sincerely, and my friend Mary on here can attest to it. I am more than happy to talk you through and explain the steps to get the kind of project that you want and the finish that you want. Because I want you to enjoy the process and I want you to be successful. And I don't want you to get disappointed or frustrated. And so I am more than happy when you pick out a project and you want to know how to get a certain finish or a certain look, I'm more than happy to talk you through that whole thing. Hi, Regine. Thanks for joining us. Oh, Mary, thank you. I knew you would speak up for me. I'm going to finish this coat and then I want to show you guys the bag that we finished yesterday. I have to make sure I don't have any wet paint on my hands. So you guys, this is one of my decoupage tissues. Can you see the sparkle on there? She's got rhinestones and a beautiful necklace, all kinds of gears and stuff. This was a bag that I did last Tuesday and Wednesday, and then we finished it up together yesterday. But I think she turned out so pretty. And this is just a canvas bag from Michael's that is like, with my coupon, I think it's just at right about $5. But I love how she turned out. Okay, so these drawers just pop out, which is super nice. That will make them real easy to paint. It's just nice getting a fresh coat of paint on this, I'll tell you. Just a fresh coat just perks it right up. I just envision this being in some young girl's bedroom. Whether it's hanging on the wall or sitting on top of a desk. And so, you know, I know for sure it's going to have black and white on it. But I'm thinking that I might have to put some pink on it. Now, if I wasn't doing this live, you guys, I would turn this flat on here. There we go. That's better. And before I do the back part of this, I will definitely have to lay it down flat. And when I go to do my black stripes on it, it'll have to be flat. Liz, in most cases, honest to goodness, in most cases, the answer would be yes. I would definitely give a piece 2 coats. But on this piece, since it was already white and in fairly decent condition, the coverage on here is really, really good with the silk paint. And I don't think I'm going to go back and put a second coat. I'll let this dry and I'll look at it tomorrow and decide. But I think it's going to be just fine with the 1 coat. I don't think I painted that back there. And when you're talking about coats of paint, I would say a minimum of 2 coats on furniture. And again, this is Dixie Belle, and Dixie Belle I carry the Dixie Belle chalk and I carry the Dixie Belle silk. They have another line that's a clay-based line, and I do not carry that line. And with the chalk paint, you always need 2 coats. And I would say with the silk, you always need 2 coats. This is like an exception. But if you missed me talking about the silk earlier, they came out with silk about 3 years ago. And I really love it, and I use it a lot because it has a primer, it has a top coat, paint color, and it has a top coat in it. And if you're new to furniture, some woods bleed. And that would be mahoganies, cherry woods, some oak will bleed. And when I say bleed, that means that when it gets wet from the paint, it starts releasing the tannins in the wood, and they will be a pinkish red color and come through. So if this was a mahogany wood cabinet, if it didn't have a primer on it, you would start to see pink color seeping through here. Well, that's just a bonus that there's a primer already in this, and that I don't have to worry about that. And it's not that kind of wood. This is, I'm pretty sure this is just plywood. This paint doesn't require me sealing it because it has that sealer in the paint. If I was using chalk paint, yes, I would need to seal it because I'm using the satin top coat. The silk paint has a built-in top coat in it, so I do not have to go back and seal it. And the black that I used on the bag that I just showed you guys, my steampunk lady, I used the black anchor silk on there, so I don't have to go back and top coat that either. It's sealed. You use the silk paint differently than the chalk paint. Like, I'm not using any water with it, and if I was using the chalk paint, I would be spraying as I painted along. You don't want to use water with this. And it's self-leveling. I don't have any brush strokes on this piece. I don't know if that shows up well on the camera, but there's no brush strokes. And that's because it's such a nice paint, and because this is such a great brush. And you guys have lots of paint choices. You have lots of paint choices and you have lots of brush choices. If I didn't feel like this was like the best out there on the market, I wouldn't be. Micheline, it doesn't really matter what kind. Let me rephrase that. It does matter what kind of wood you're painting, because like I was saying, some woods are bleeders. And if you know, like a clue, when you are cleaning your wood piece, your furniture piece, You know, when I started this video, I showed everybody how to use the white lightning to clean and to rinse it really well. And when you're cleaning your piece, if you start to see any color besides dirt in your bucket of water, like if you see a pink tinge or any red color, that is a really good clue that your piece that you're working on is a bleeder. Because what happens is when those tannins get wet, they release. And so when you're cleaning your piece, it will release and give you a clue. So if you get a clue, don't ignore it. I'm going to paint this top. I know you guys probably can't see that, but I'm going to paint this top, and then I'm going to, let's see. There we go. And then we're going to just about call it quits here. And then when I come back next week, we'll start doing the fun stuff of deciding where the stripes are going to be and how to get nice stripes without messing them up. And if we're going to put Harlequin on, and so you guys think about it this week, and if you have thoughts or ideas of what you think would look cool on here, like I'm not a very blingy girl, but I know a lot of you are very blingy. So if you have ideas, I am open for ideas and suggestions, because I can see this being in some young girl or some teenager's bedroom. And so I do want it to be a fun piece. Thank you. Got my hair up. Okay, so did I miss? So Micheline, the best paint to use for your kitchen and bathroom cabinets, hands down, silk. Because if you don't use the silk, if you use the chalk paint or any other kind of paints, then you're going to have to do multiple coats. So you're going to have to, if your wood is going to be a bleeder, you're going to have to do 2 coats of primer. Then you put on a minimum of 2 coats of your paint and let that dry, and then you have to go on and put 1 or 2 coats of your top coat. So you've got 3 products and 6 coats of paint. And if you're doing a kitchen, you're going to want to kill yourself. I did my bathroom, because those cabinets were painted black too. I did my bathroom the first year I was selling, so that was 2019. And it's a pretty big cabinet area. I think there's six doors. And it took me a weekend of, taking the doors off and painting the coats, flipping them over, painting the coats, and getting it all put back up again. When I did my kitchen, I think there are 32 cabinets in this kitchen, I think. And I just couldn't do it all at one time. I just couldn't. I just didn't have the patience, and to it's just so much work. It's just so much work. And so I did it in chunks. I did 1 set of cabinets top and bottom, another set of cabinets top and bottom, and then I did a section over here where there's 2 and 2. I did that section. And then there's this island here where the sink is and cabinets, so I did that as a section. But once I got over here in the corner, I really got my act into gear and just knocked it out and got it done. But Mary on here has done bathroom cabinets. I don't know if they're done yet or not, Mary. And she's going to do her kitchen cabinets. And so I definitely, if you're doing cabinets, I definitely encourage you to select silk, the silk line of paint. And there's all kinds of really pretty colors. And Mary has mixed colors. So she's taken, you know, 2 different colors of silk paint, and there's a method, there's a process to go through so that you can duplicate that all the way through your whole thing. And I've explained it to Mary, and if you want me to explain it to you in another live, I'd be happy to. If you are wanting to paint your cabinets and you don't want to wait, and you want to know how to mix your paints together so that you consistently get the same shade each time, I'd be happy to tell you how to do that. I was just looking at the comment. Yeah, Mary mixed Endless Shore and Sandcastle to get the color that she was looking for. And it's such a cool place, you guys. If you live here locally, Ground Floor Artist is such an amazing place. I just feel so fortunate that I am able to have my studio there. There are 39 working artists there in every art medium there is. Probably art mediums you didn't even know existed. And there's potters and watercolor and oil painting and jewelry making and acrylic pours and collage, and I mean just everything is there. And the artists, if they're in their studio working, they welcome you to stop and say hi, ask questions. There's a really nice art gallery that you can see the different artists from around the valley will come in, and they have shows that they judge. And there's a really beautiful boutique that the artists that are there or members of Ground Floor Artists can display their things that they want to sell in the boutique. And then you can go around to all the different studios, and they have things for sale in there. And if they're in there, you can watch how they work or ask questions. It's a really, really cool place, you guys. So if you don't live in the area, just get your girlfriends together and plan a field trip and come. And again, if you're going to do that, let me know, because I would just be so sad to miss you guys. So if you're coming, I want to be there too. So